Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm late. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's see the list. I've just got, I saw Meg and Debri on here already. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm sorry I'm late. I literally just lost track of time. So school doesn't start till September, the day after Labor Day. But I'm trying to get ready now, so I've got my mom coming in town, and then we are leaving immediately on vacation. So, and my babysitter, who's also a friend, is going to be here taking care of my girls. Hello. Might be a short day today. So just have the two of you on here. Is anyone here? Say hello if you're here. Hello, who's here? Hi, Regine. Okay. Let me just check. I don't think there's anything on my other PayPal because I get notifications for that, but I'm going to hear a little thing. Give me just a minute. See what's new here. My kids got a little stomach bug this week, so that was super fun. I am being facetious. Hi, Dee. Oh, you're always changing your name. Okay. So that's like what's going on. Meg, if you're here, are you here? Are you here? If not, Debri, if you want to ask your question. Sorry, my eyeballs. I need to get my reading glasses. That would be helpful. Okay, sorry. 45. So if either one of you wants to put in your question, I don't have your payment yet, but Regina, I, in good faith, believe that you'll be paying. Okay, I've been going through a lot lately. I don't know what to do. Can you tell me, is there a purpose to all of this? There's the proverbial everything has a meaning. Just kidding. That's what I got it. I need to ask it differently because first I was like, well, what's she been going through? And I just see lots of like, almost like paper bills, lots of things coming in. And then I feel like, I don't know why I saw a cat because I know you don't have a cat, but it was just like that. And then I saw issues coming up with your mom. And then I don't know if it's a plumbing issue, like a pipe leaking or something like that. And I was like, okay, so well, like, and then I asked, like, is there something you're supposed to get from the way you asked it? And it's like, that's not the way to ask it. So I just feel like I'm going to ask it as, what do you need to know about it? Instead of what are you supposed to learn from it? Maybe what do you need to know about it? So I'm literally, this is what I'm going to say this verbatim. Um, Times are changing for the better, but when we invite new things in, the old things must leave. And they're showing me like the crusty stuff. Their words, not mine. Um, and that the things that we accepted as being the normal, that are often very unhealthy, are no longer serving us. And so it creates chaos when it's leaving and making its way out the door. And while I feel like you and your mom have a fairly decent relationship, I do feel like there's a sense of her being fairly critical, even when there's a lot of times where it's like you actually know better. Um, and they're sort of saying just stick to your intuition, even if it doesn't make sense. Follow your intuition. I've heard this twice, but I don't know who the she is when. So I heard she's helping you from this side or from the other side, but I don't know who she is. So it's like this is all very general, and I sort of really hate when I get general information like this and not really super specific, because I feel like I like evidence. Okay, personal and financial. Okay, hi Jessa. Um, is there been like a leak or a plumbing issue? Can you validate that at all? Because I saw like a pipe dripping. And I'm going to tell you the truth that they're not showing you as you being in a relationship. And I just always feel like that's a really big sign. That doesn't mean that you're actually in one, but if they're not highlighting that um, romantically, they're making me feel like he's kind of a scoundrel. They used a different term, trying to be nicer. And to remind yourself, and maybe this is where that intuition part is, like it's a feeling of like maybe you have an issue with the way something he's doing something and you bring it up, and then he has this way of twisting it to where then you feel bad or like you're the person who did something wrong. Um, and it's a feeling of it's emotional manipulation. This has come up a lot lately. Um, you have a broken tank top, not like a toilet tank. That might be all it is. They're just showing me what's going on. I'm like, I don't, and like bills felt too general. And um, for the medical bills, I feel like you need to call them because there's a sense that um, if you talk to either the billing or like there's a way to get around like where they have aid that will help you so you don't have to pay the full amount. Um, but it feels like needing to call the hospital and talk to them about like your income and everything else and what's covered, and there's a way to like to where I feel like you'll pay maybe only 10% of whatever the bills are, if that. um, it feels like your rate is reduced significantly, but you need to call them and say like um, I would appeal it because I feel like you do end up qualifying for it It's just that, just like with insurance companies, because we unfortunately live in a capitalistic society that doesn't care really about people, it's just about making money. And um, insurance companies, you'll file and file and file, and it's literally like, even people who worked for insurance companies say this is what it is, that they'll like, they play a game until like you've exhausted everything, and then they'll finally give in to it. But it just feels like you might have to appeal it once or twice, but I feel like you're going to get money out of it. So don't worry, don't give up, reappeal. um I also don't feel like it's necessarily about like a one type thing. It just feels like timing sucks, right? Like that it's like kind of all happening at once, but not because like there's this great divine, like, Jeffrey, you must learn this. It's just kind of all compiled. But again, it's sort of along the lines of like new things coming in, and it just kind of happened all at once. Good. I'm glad you dropped them. Um, I had a client that I did a reading for, and she's like a young woman who's new into the work field, and it's a small company. I don't want to give too many details to like make it too personal, like too many personal details, but it's a small company. She works directly with like the, main person, and she's a big part of the company, but he's my generation but older than me, and like has objectified her and done all these things. And I was like, and she was like, well, it's his generation, they don't know. But I was like, oh no, we do. Like, he and I are in the same generation. He absolutely knows better. And that is just an excuse. And then I had woken up the morning after the reading and didn't feel good about it, and messaged her and was like, hey, I just don't have really good feelings about this situation. And was looking for some clarification, but she said she ended up having a conversation with him. But like, even then, like now I just thought about it again. I'm like, ugh, he's totally emotionally manipulating her. And I feel like that's part of patriarchy that trains men to do that. Um, will any of them try to reach out? No, I don't feel that they will. But I also feel like the lesson in that part is like learning that like your value and your worth. And it's sort of like, oh, I'm figuring this out. Like, I don't have to tolerate this just to have a partnership. Because um partnerships, you can be in them, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily a partnership if that person doesn't know how to show up. Um, they're not worth it. I'm sorry to say. Okay. Um, um, Meg, as far as your work, do you mean the work you're doing with your own personal community? I think that's the way I want to put it, because I don't want to. Or your other income? I still feel like you have two incomes. Will any of them try to? No, I just said that. No. Who's here? Say hello. Oh, that's fine. So. House flipping is the other. Yes, my own community. And okay. Well, listen, you do well with house flipping, so I'm not. And Regina, I have you on here too. So okay. Don't shoot the messenger. Um, it feels as though I love your work, by the way, but I also know this like kind of this other side of you that's like a no F's to give kind of energy. And so there is a part of me when I look at your work and I'm like, this is a softer side of her, but also it still kind of feels like you're playing a role or playing a part, and so it doesn't feel like it's like the energetic, like you're energetically lining up with it. Um, where you have an image in your head of what you want to curate for your business, but the part of your business that will sell and will really really go is the authentic part of you, like the part that's like, this is what I do, like this is like my this is how I do things. um I don't know, I guess because like you show stuff, but then at the same time I feel like there's this, maybe it's like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a little bit more of an edgy energy to you, which is like really awesome, and that I feel like you're trying to soften and make it more palatable for people and like to sell them like a different thing. And I'm like, be that edgy person, I guess. I feel like that, I hope that's not offensive. I hope you're not offended by that. Like, like you're so like, I know that I can say stuff to you and you'll give me your honest opinion, and you're very I don't know, I still feel like the what you're showing is not who you really are, and the business, your community you're creating is, I don't know. Um well, you're the thing that created that, the real you. You don't feel like edgy is authentic to you? I don't know, I feel like you have just more of a like a direct way of being, and like, and I feel like you're softening it a little more than it needs to be, maybe because you're afraid how it's going to be received. Like, I believe that you are authentically very kind and very thoughtful, and you love uplifting women and empowering people. And I see someone who is very empathetic to others, but I also feel like you're like a no BS kind of businesswoman at the same time. And I mean, a person can't flip houses the way you have, like as I believe brilliantly as you have, um, without having a little bit of an edge. And I think that is authentically you. And I think that's like a lot of what I admire. It's just, excuse me, hey Gia. I don't mean edgy like riding motorcycles. I just mean or cut through it or anything like that. I don't know. I just feel like you need to lean into that a little bit more when doing your community work, because otherwise, I don't want to say Pollyanna, but it lends a little bit more to somebody who's like, oh, I don't have to be so like, I don't know. That's just the feeling I get, is like with that, it's not that it's not going to grow. It's just they're sort of like, just be you. Don't try to curate something that would look beautiful in a magazine. I think that's why I struggle with like Instagram, and even this sometimes with YouTube. Like, I feel like with YouTube, it really has to be like highly filmed and like done perfectly. I have to like film it and then upload it. That's why I haven't made videos in forever. I only just do these lives here, is because it became like so much more work. Whereas like TikTok, I can literally just like pop on and be like, here are my thoughts. And it's a little easier, and I don't have to be totally curated, and I don't have to have it be like, and I don't even know exactly, like, I'm trying to get really more comfortable with not doing it for a who, but just being me and seeing what it brings in. Does that make sense what I'm saying that? Or does that resonate? Obviously, it makes sense. I've got one for you, Gio, too. Okay. So hang on. I don't think that you should not create beautiful things. Marry the edgy and the fairy. Yeah. Like, because here's the thing, a lot of people also don't realize that you can do that. Like, they have this idea that I can only be one or the other. If I'm not like, I had an idea about spirituality for a really long time that like, it's all love and light. And it took a while for me to realize like, oh no, like sometimes you're like, I'd always be like, sorry, I just need, my lips are a little dry. Still dry. That's not the one I thought I grabbed. Anyway, sorry. Oops. Right. So I thought like, oh, everything's love and light, and the universe takes care of everything. And I really still believe that everybody gets exactly what they deserve and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I finally realized like, sometimes you have to be the mirror for somebody else, and you are actually serving up their karma in a way. And that doesn't make you evil or bad. And me charging for my services doesn't make me less gifted. There was a lot of people when I started charging for services like, oh, you can't do that. It's a gift from God. I'm like, and I had to be like, no, like everything's a gift, and you should charge for your services and your energy rendered and all of that stuff. So I don't know. It just feels like there's something really beautiful in being like, you can be this way and believe in all these beautiful things and also get your bag. And I only brought that up because they were showing me that that's what should be talked about to help that grow and further itself. Also, I have to say this, I feel like it might be worth even making TikToks over, because Instagram is a tough algorithm, and it does not push you out the way TikTok does to new viewers. That's kind of why it was like, why am I putting all this work into something where they aren't pushing me out? Even TikTok sort of has a weird way of pushing me out. It's like not. I mean, but I also am not just creating stuff to create, like, because it's what I think everybody will like. I'm just sharing what I feel like I should be sharing, and it may not be for everybody. But I love what you create. And I think your content is really beautiful. And I always like the music with it. And it's really good. I just also feel like, knowing energetically what I feel, I'm like, there's also this other side of her. And I feel like people would really benefit from knowing that side of you. I have a friend who is writing this blog, and she's really holding back on who she is. And she is so incredible. Another entrepreneur, and she's just like, she's fabulous. She's very successful. And I feel like if she just showed that, like, that's so inspiring, especially to other women, where I feel like this really is the time for women to be, they say divine feminine, but it's not about like being an XX chromosome. It's about moving more from your upper chakras, and not like spiritually and kind, because that's still divine feminine under patriarchy. It's using your intuition more, having more empathy. Make it about you. That's why people follow you and do your stuff, because they're like, oh, I like Meg. Ayama, I still don't have your, oh, yes, I do. Now I have it. Okay, got it. Okay. Regine, what's your question? You're very welcome. Do you want just a general reading? Because if you want to know what I see me. I'm kidding. Oh. Okay. I feel like you're getting really distracted easily, and getting caught up in things that are not, like, while necessarily there are things that need to be dealt with. It's like, and this is like a weird example, but this is what they did to me, and this is what happens when I do readings, and I'm trying to do readings, and my brain goes everywhere else, and like, it's connecting to the other person, but they're sort of showing me. So like, I need to focus on this right now and do this. And then I just thought about, for some reason, my mind went to my dehumidifier that's out there, that's like fairly, like literally a week old, if that, and it's freezing over. So I have to call the company and take care of that. And like, yes, it's something I needed to take care of. Yes, it's an issue that's going on currently. And at the same time, it is not, it's like, it'll get taken care of when it gets taken care of. So it's this idea of like, the things that are going on in your life right now, when you're at work, you need to be focused on work and not worry about all those other things, because they'll still be there. Then what happens is, when you're thinking about that, worrying about that, dreaming about that, like how you're going to get your new business into line and all those other things, you're not fully present and available in your work. Oh, you have a trip to New York 9/6, please. Okay. Um, I actually feel like it might be the temperature, maybe a little warmer than usual, maybe unseasonably warm. Because I see you walking and just like sweating. Um, I'm saying this to you now. I feel like you're going to pack because they're showing me in these cute little sandals with a little bit of a heel. And it's like, you're going to walk, but you're like, oh, but I'll take this. And then we'll be sitting and all that. And it's like, I feel like, or they're so comfortable for me regularly. It feels like they're not. So do yourself a favor. And pack an extra comfy pair of shoes, like even tennis shoes, and don't worry about if it looks stupid or it's not fashionable or whatever. It just feels like pack them. You don't necessarily have to wear them, but it just feels like just pack them. Also, like people who come here and visit and they're with me, they're like, I'm not really dressed like, I'm like, no one cares what you're wearing. Like literally, nobody cares what you're wearing here. I always find it funny when there's those like TikToks like what people on the Upper West Side are wearing, what people up on the East Side are wearing, or what's the fashion in New York. I'm like, the fashion in New York is whatever you want to wear. Nobody cares. So I saw those two things for you. So I feel like being focused and because all of that other stuff will be there for you to worry about in time, and it'll get taken care of. And then when you come to New York, it feels like it's unseasonably warm. And like they're showing me your feet a little bit more. So I feel like I know people know they're going to walk when they're here, but I don't think they realize how much you walk when you're here. 'Cause you're like, oh, I just walked to get on the subway. Oh, look, it's only a block away. I'm like, but if you're not used to if you're used to only like going from your door to your car, getting in your car and driving somewhere, it's a lot more walking than you realize. And I don't know how psychic is, but that's what they're showing me. Unseasonably warm and your sandals. But otherwise, I feel like enjoying your trip and having a good time. I feel like there's a bit of a business part to that. And I don't understand that because I feel like you're supposed to be here for pleasure, but I feel like there's something work related to it as well. Does any of this resonate with you? Does that being distracted and sort of like thinking about other problems make sense when I say that to you? Sorry, I'm like cracking my knuckles and okay. Okay, it makes sense. All right. I'm going to leave you with that then. All right. Gia, what is your question? And then Ayama, and then maybe we'll bounce out of here. I'm okay with being done early. I have to get my house ready for visitors and for donations. My babysitter, I think I started to say like she's a friend too now, but she's gonna stay with my bunny for me. So my bunny's not. I don't have to take her anywhere. Just leave my. Oh, okay. Is it a good idea for you to leave your job at the end of the month? It's interesting because I feel like I still feel like you're going to be working like a part-time job. I don't feel like this is it. So it's not necessarily, I feel like leaving this job in particular helps you open up and focus more on school, because I feel like this job is kind of stressful. And I feel like school all of a sudden becomes easier and it just feels like, oh, I can balance this easier now. Like, I don't know why I was struggling before, but I don't know if it's like a toxic job per se. It just feels like whatever it was not allowing you to just like, once you leave your day, you're done with work. But I still feel like you'll be working. So I don't know, maybe you get a job on campus or do something part-time, but it feels like just to have a little extra money coming in. So like when I was in college, I didn't work high stress jobs. I just worked like retail and stuff. Just or who knows, maybe bartend if you're in a college town. Yeah, it just feels like whatever it is, it just feels like part-time. It's not. Okay. So you'll be okay. Mantras for that. Everything's always working out for me. The universe is always conspiring in my favor. Um, Everything always works out in my favor. You're welcome. Okay, and then I think last but not least, I have Ayama. And you're very welcome, Gia. Hi, Rafka. How are you? I'm just checking my PayPal quick. Doop, doop. Oh, wrong day. Um, Hi, Makikan. That's okay if you're late. Sure, Linda, you can, which one are you sending the payment to? The My Spiritual Friend one or the? And then, Ayama, what's your question, my dear? Are you still here? Ayama, are you here? Same one you always use? Okay. Okay, gotcha. You can ask your questions since I don't know where Ayama's at. Ayama, are you here? Oh, it's above? Is this one of those ones where I can't see it? Can someone copy and paste it for me? Because I don't see it from her. Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Sorry. My hip's been hurting a lot for a while. I'm wondering what I see. Does she need a hip replacement or be exercise PT? Okay. FYI, if you're asking anything about the body, don't ask me like that kind of like ask it just a very general way. So just, you can just say my hip has been bothering me, and then I'll feel into what it is. Because if you lead me to it, then I might get it wrong, if that makes sense. So like I had somebody ask me about something and I was like, oh, and this was in a private reading. And I looked at it and I said, well, I feel this in my left side. She's like, well, no, it's my right that's bothering me. I said, I don't think that that's actually where the root problem is. So I don't like to have doubt already placed in my mind if I'm feeling something into it, if that makes sense. I actually just immediately while I'm looking at it, I feel like bursitis or something like that. So I don't feel like it's a hip replacement. I feel like it'll be PT, and unlocking your psoas. But I feel like there's actually maybe even like they're showing me what looks like a burr. Do you know what a burr is? Like that, get out in the dunes or whatever. It's like a little sticky thing that sticks and then grab it, like hold on, like where it's got lots of spikes on it. Weird. And I don't know if you know, so I feel like PT will help, psoas work will help. I don't feel like you'll have to have surgery per se, but I feel like this is the woo-woo part, and you can do it and it will not hurt you. So no matter what a doctor tells you, like, well, that's never going to work, just go with it. Castor oil, if you get a hex-free and comes in a glass bottle, organic castor oil, and if you read about castor oil packs, they often talk about it going on the liver. But I feel like you should do a castor oil pack on your hip. And doing lymphatic drainage as well would be help. I can tell you anecdotally, changing diet really makes a big difference. And like I know for me, when I eat wheat, this gets tight or this gets tight. It seems like my right side has been getting tighter lately over my left, but my muscle gets really tight in my neck, and it's really uncomfortable. And I get that with when I eat wheat. If I don't eat wheat, I'm fine. I don't get that tightness. So it's like not this like, oh, you're just holding your head. It's like literally that's how the inflammation shows up. And it feels like when you eat wheat, it exacerbates that. So I would, if I were you, keep a food diary, and be like really specific for a couple you ate. And then like maybe you notice that every time you eat bread, 6 hours later, your hip starts flaring up. Okay. So there's a delay. I have this, I think it's right under my eye here. I think it's a molluscum, which is like a little viral infection. And I had one on this eyelid before. I had an eye doctor like cut it off because it was just like, it kind of popped and it was oozing, but it wasn't clearing up. I probably touched something and then rubbed my eye because I'm not a super germaphobe. Even though I know how germs pass. Anyway, and I've been putting on it for like 2 days and it's getting smaller. Castor oil. I took castor oil and mixed it with oil of oregano. And now everybody would probably yell at me. I just put it on I mix it in a little tiny medicine cup and I take a Q-tip and I dab it on there and dab it on there. And I do it a couple times a day and it's getting smaller. So castor oil is great. It's really good for dry skin. And they say that it helps other things absorb better. I don't know. But I just feel like doing that on your hip might be helpful with like a heating pad, but also with the food thing. So note, you're going to want to note like when your hip hurts, the times. So like you're going to timestamp what you're eating and timestamp when your pain is and your discomfort is. Because I have a feeling you're going to find a correlation between a specific food and that. I'm leaning towards it being wheat. Okay. So Linda, if you want to go ahead and ask your question, and then Ayama, if you have any questions, go to the bottom of the screen and you'll see like a little bar drag it all the way to the right so you're caught up with me, and then type and let me know what your question is. Or clarification or something like that, and I'll go back to it that way, because I think you might be about 5 minutes behind, or 3 minutes. I don't know. Okay, Rathka. Got it. Okay, so Linda, what's your question? Also, if y'all are having hair fallout issues or long-term COVID issues, I would follow an insulin resistant type way of eating, and look at adding in I can't think of what the tea is that I bought, the root that I bought. Let me look it up. Burdock root tea. I steep it for 20 minutes and I drink about 3 cups of it a day. I'm not kidding. I also drink, it's a diuretic. So if you worry about that stuff, I would drink a lot of water with it too. Not a lot, but just make sure you're drinking water in between. Water. Okie doke. There we go. Got it. Yes. And I have castor oil. This makes sense. Okay. I just feel like it feels like maybe like a little calcium deposit or something like that. It feels like, it reminds me of this. I got to watch the surgery when I was in high school, and I was shadowing another nurse, and we went in the OR, and the guy was taking something out of this guy's shoulder, and it looked like it was like a little bone thing. I don't know. It wasn't one of his bones. And it was like calcified, and it just feels like something's calcified in there, but that it could be broken up or taken care of. That it doesn't necessarily, I don't feel like it needs necessarily surgery. The one other thing that they mentioned now too is apparently when your estrogen levels drop too, you can get a little bit more arthritic. So maybe adding into your diet foods that are friendly. So eating soy and things like that, organic soy. I don't know. You can look up like foods that help with estrogen. Sorry, I don't know any of those off the top of my head. Okay, Linda, what's your question? General reading. Okay. You're very welcome. I feel like your solar plexus is so tight, Linda. I don't know if you've seen the Barbie movie, but there's like at the beginning where I don't want to tell like too much, but I'm not gonna say anything just in case you want to see the Barbie movie, but there's a part of it where this sort of makes me feel like that, where I'm like, oh, like try not to have this fatalist around surrounding everything around your mom. And I know that like it's sort of inevitable, but it feels so much heavier than in the past week or so. You saw it last night. Oh, okay. I don't want to say like too much because I don't know if anybody else has seen it. So, but it's just that feeling of like how she called like the I'll just say doom and gloom type thing, where that's what I felt like, oh, I'm taking on that um, trait. You don't need to take on that trait. And I don't mean to be like, I don't want to sound callous when I'm saying this way. It's like it's inevitable that people pass, right? That's just part of life. And it feels like instead of being in the mode of like worrying about when and all that stuff and oh my God, and it feels like just put one foot in front of the other and just literally you'll have to just deal with things as they come. And um right, it just feels like you're doing all the right things that you're supposed to do, um and that it's all going to fall into place okay. I still feel like the house is safe. I do feel like whatever that like $30,000, I feel like, but I don't feel like anything's going to change with that. So it feels like sort of um, like it's become very evident that it's going to happen anytime soon. It just feels like um, try not to focus on the when and try and just be in the moment and be present and available for her. I also feel like she's sort of giving up in a way. She doesn't like living this way, doesn't want to live this way. There's this idea where I've listened to older people say things like this is for a long time. I've listened to old people like, oh, they're going to take care of me, or like this idea of right, being taken care of, right? And like it will be fine, or it's almost romanticized in a way. And I feel like now that she's here, it's like not the way she had imagined and not wanting to be a burden. Like her idea of being taken care of was still being highly independent, but like having somebody drive her to the grocery store if she wanted that to happen, or cook for her, clean for her. Um, I also understand that that house part is stressful because it's your home. Um, it is going to remain your home. So it feels like you chose a really good. I think it's a. I don't know if it's a like an estate attorney or what, but it feels like they know the right loopholes and like that you'll be fine. So I really feel like you just need to like it may even come back at first, like where you're like, uh-oh, but then it feels like, oh no, actually, and then there's this other part of it. So it feels like just know that it's all working out, it's gonna be in your favor and it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay financially. Yeah, I don't feel like anything I feel like it gets taken care of sooner than later. Um, they're showing me March as being significant, but I feel like it's March of 2024. I can't believe like that it's already almost 2024. Like that's insane to me. So that feels significant to me as March of 2024. So maybe that's like when everything there's like, I don't know. It just feels like that's important. And you'll be fine financially. Okay. I know that's like easy for me to go, oh, you're going to be fine. Like but I genuinely get this feeling of that you'll be fine. And I also feel like when you do sell the house, that you will make out very well with financially. Okay, hang in there, Rathka. What's your question? You know, we're in between places now and considering being where we are went for a while, not forever. Okay. Um, I have to say buying property anywhere is to your benefit. Um, um, it's not the isn't for you. The is like kind of looking at an overall perspective of which place and why, and it feels like you would be better off buying property where you're at right now. Um, I think you may be there until 2026 because that's coming up for me, and I just feel like things will be better then here. If you've been watching me for a while, so you know that I've said this for a while about like things start to kind of get better in 2024 and like but by 2028 it's really like a lot different. But it feels like, it still feels like there's, I don't want to say civil unrest because I don't know that that's the right term. But I just feel like maybe it's just that over there you feel more at ease and safe. It just feels safer for some reason. And it sucks. Like I know, like, we're going down to Florida and I'm sorry to admit that. And I've got somebody here staying at the house. So I'm like saying that because I'm not like just saying my house is empty. Come get it. Like I have someone staying here. We have an alarm. Like, but I recognize what like I have friends that are, he and his partner have adopted 4 little black daughters. And like, he's like, we can't go to Florida. I'm like, I know you can. And I'm like, I recognize that this comes from a very privileged place to be able to say, I'm going there and know that really the only thing I have to worry about is popping off to the wrong person. And you say, Anna, you wouldn't do that, but you would be surprised. Because everybody can have a pew pew there. I will have to mind my P's and Q's. But I also recognize that there's other stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in our country right now that is very unsettling and very disheartening. And I know that it's going to be turning around. And it really bothers me when it's like, oh, Gen Z will save us, or Gen A will save us. I'm like, I don't like, it requires all of us. Anyway, shifts are being made, but yeah, I feel like property over there. And I feel like maybe 2026 you return here. And I don't know if it's permanently and you just keep the property over there as an investment. I don't really know how that works, but yeah. Okie dokie. All right, my friends. I think I got everyone. If I didn't get you, holler at me. Let's see. If you're not subscribed to my email list on my website, you should do that, because I picked a person, and every week I pick a person and I send out an email. I even sent it out earlier today. And I don't know if you guys don't believe me, but I'm picking people. They're just not showing up. Rothko, you got one week. Just not showing up. So there's opportunities to get free questions there. And once my kids are back in school, I will be doing free readings over on TikTok occasionally. And I'm also going to do, and I'm also going to, and it really was random when I picked you, because I didn't realize it was your email address, because it like doesn't look the same. So that's, she can vouch for too. Also, I'm going to do some psychic development circles, because I really enjoy those. And I think maybe during the school year is a little easier. And I have some other stuff coming in soon. Just wanted to say thanks for last week's reading. You're welcome. I didn't realize I've been holding in a lot of stress since I moved. I guess I'm just waiting to exhale. Do it. Exhale. And it, here's the other thing is, when you live in a really abusive environment, it takes a little while to like relax and sort of get recalibrated to what a new norm feels like when you're not completely on edge all the time. So give yourself grace for that too. All right. So I'm going to say adieu. Next weekend I'll see you. I don't know what I'm going to do about the weekend after. So, okay. Have a great week. And be kind to yourselves.